This is going to be one of those nights. Well, Michael Cole wasn't wrong, so let's talk about it. I'm John Renton with my review of WWE Bad Blood. Guess we've got lots of blood. And the Hell in a Cell match. And then we got Bad Blood like Bad Blood. Yes, we've got WWE Bad Blood 2024 from the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, GA. The baddest street in the whole USA. Bad, nasty, greasy, and hot. The further down the block you went, the more violent it got. I know those aren't the words. Work with me here. You're getting this review a number of hours later because I decided to go watch a special screen of We Live in Time with Florence Pugh. Andrew Garfield is from A24, and it'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry, it'll make you laugh a lot, and it'll make you cry quite a bit. Find out how much in my review. But nevertheless, WWE Bad Blood 2024. You know what? At least it started good. And it certainly ended with a little bit of intrigue. So, I missed most of the pre-show. Though, Peter Rosenberg, or whatever the fuck his goddamn name is, it may not be the Omni, but it feels like the Omni tonight. No, it doesn't. You fucking dipshit. Anyway, so they had a crowd of... They said like 16,000. It was actually more like 14,500 according to WrestleTix, because for basketball they have a capacity of just around 17,000. And look, to be perfectly honest, yeah, they inflate the numbers quite a bit. They still had a lot of fucking people. They had a limited setup, and for what it was worth, the crowd made quite a bit of noise. Samantha singing God Bless America. 1, she looks incredible. 2, she has tremendous vocal range. She really is a bright, shining star on that roster. I know she's technically only the ring announcer, but she's really carrying a lot of this shit. She has a lot of verboseness to it, and just a lot of tremendous range, a lot of personality. So I wasn't sure, admittedly, how to take her at first. But she has definitely grown on me, and she's clearly a fan and a student of the game, as it were. So Cody and Triple H and whoever Metro Boomin is did some kind of movie heist thing. The fuck was this? So the pyro, and they filled that place up. They did. They got a lot of people. I imagine they probably paid a serious goddamn price. So we have Jade, Bianca, and Naomi. I'm sorry, I'm on a Phineas and Ferb kick, so anything that sounds technically like me is going to get the Meep treatment. I like Naomi, and they're the hosts or hostess with the mostest, except for clothing, and there you go. So, they're the hosts, and Drew entrance in 8K. 8K cameras make everything look better. Isn't that right, Kier? More on Kier here in a bit. Poor Kier. Great guy. So, a big pop for Punk. And Cole mentions the 2012 Hell in a Cell match where Punk faced Ryback. Remember when Ryback was over? Then again, Ryback being over is as, beneficial to society as an advanced case of syphilis. In fact, I think I'd rather have an advanced case of syphilis rather than have Ryback be over again. Nevertheless, let's stop talking about that. Let's talk about CM Punk and Drew McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell match to kick off the pay-per-view. I get why they went with the main event the way they did. I get it. This was the match of the night. It was. I'm sorry. There were things that I had an issue with. I wonder if you can guess what they were. But for the most part, they made the most of the cell. Now, I will say that you don't need a bunch of weaponry. You can use the stairs, and you can maybe use like 1 or 2 weapons. You don't need to go crazy. But that being said, they start slugging it out. This will not be a 5-star wrestling classic. There was no 5-star match on this show, in my personal opinion. Goldberg and Gage are in attendance, along with a bunch of other people. More on Bill Goldberg here in a bit. They're using the weapon as a cell. If you get that, you are a longtime viewer of this channel and also a longtime viewer of WWE as far as remembering shit from just about 9 years ago. And trust me, in a vacuum, 9 years is a long time to be viewing, especially with how things have swung on a pendulum with this particular promotion. So, we get a table, a chair, we get a toolbox. I'm sorry, you don't need to have a fucking toolbox. I know there's a toolbox underneath the goddamn ring to tighten stuff, but really? I hated what they did in the goddamn Swerve Hangman Adam Page cage match, but nevertheless, a wrench. The table legs get broken off. So they're going to use the table legs as a weapon, and Drew got it in the throat at one point. Let me tell you right now, when you see a 6'5", 255-pound Scottish man get it deep in his throat, you're going to notice. I will be taking no further questions on this, but man, they turned the table upside down, and Drew's like, oh my eye, I'm not supposed to get table leg in. A little late for Lenny. So Cole did say this is going to be one of those nights. Now, the way he said it, technically, with a couple of the other matches, he wasn't wrong. So we get a Claymore, we get a wall bump, Punk is bleeding. And so Drew is wearing black because this is supposed to be Punk's funeral. But then a toolbox to the head. And Drew is bleeding now with GTS, but Drew rolls out. And then we get a Claymore for 2. And we get a toolbox at the back. I didn't like them using the toolbox. I'm sorry. I just didn't. But there was one point where Drew basically, got his tool out and put it all, and was just swinging his tool around. I know somebody will like that. And then Punk at one point decided to swing his tool around directly into Drew's back and face. This is not the first time I've seen two men, one in his mid-40s and one at near 40, swinging their tools around in each other's backs and faces. Always delete search history, by the way. So the referee gets a towel, which gets some booze, but, they're bleeding. They're legit bleeding. But, to wipe this off, so, hey, guys, maybe you need to look a little bit better. And then it all started last November. It all started at the 500-watt studio in Cincinnati. That is such a deep cut. There's like 3 fucking people that are going to get that. But Drew, oh God. There was a suplex through the table. Drew couldn't even pick up the goddamn steps afterwards. I think he really hurt himself, so I'm not mean to lie. I hope he's all right. But a GTS for 2, an air raid crash. Fuck you calling it white noise. It's an air raid crash. And then the Vice time. And then the tool repeatedly to the head, Punk slamming his tool right into Drew's head. His lengthy tool, right? This does not look like slamming a tool. And I would know about slamming a tool into someone's face. But nevertheless, a low blow, and then Drew bleeding. I mean, he got cut here, so it was bleeding something significant. But then a bag of beads. I was worried when he brought the bag out. I said, you bring out thumbtacks, this is going to piss me off. Oh, he brought out beads. Okay, that makes sense. So is it silly? Sure. But then we get a Claymore. He tries to hit a Claymore, and then he hits his back on the steps. I'm like, there's no way to pull up on that. Why? Why would you do that, you fucking idiots? But whatever. And then he puts his Punk puts his chain on his knee, and then just beats him up. Hits the GTS. Puts the beads in the mouth. Hits the GTS rather. 1, 2, 3. Big pop. Punk needed oxygen. It doesn't look good. And he seems to be all right. I mean, I can imagine that was exhausting. And also, this looks like a crime scene. This isn't Fayetteville on June 25th, 2007. Did anybody let the dogs out of the enclosed pool area? Nevertheless, so Lillian Garcia, Booker T, and Jaqueline. Thank you, Chris. I can never hear Jacqueline the same way again. They're at ringside. Kathy is with Jade, Bianca, and Naomi. And Bianca was like, like this about Bayley. Bianca's going heel because she doesn't trust Bayley. She does not trust the Bayley bump. They mentioned DDP was there. A bunch of people are there. Kathy looks great. So, Bayley and Nia took on each other for the WWE Women's Championship. Look, I like Bayley. I have not liked this feud. It's been about trying to divide Tiffany and Nia. I don't care. Nothing is going to make me cheer Nia. And not because, she's a heel. She's there because she's Dwayne's cousin. People say she's improved. She couldn't have gotten any goddamn worse. Bayley may have hurt her knee, or maybe she was just selling. We get a ref bump. I think it's the first ref bump I've seen involving a woman referee. I think I saw it once with Aubrey. So I don't think I've seen WWE in a while. Tiffany comes down with an attempt to cash in, but she hits Bailey. And then we get some ridiculous, shit going on. And then but Nia set up like the Undertaker. I hope Nia and an Undertaker isn't too far off. I would not hate her if she was not a crackpot, much like Jericho and the Bucks and others and everything. So she deserves to get ridiculed. Nia won. And then Xavier's playing a DBZ game. X-Pac, Tully Blanchard, and Arn Anderson were in the crowd. I guarantee you the only one that knew where they were was X-Pac. So we have Balor and Priest in a grudge match. And you know what? It was a match that should have happened on Raw. Because with how long this show went, bell to bell, and because I ended up watching this, the main event on demand, this thing went 3 hours and 13 minutes. And again, a 5-match card should not be going over 3 hours. It should barely be going 2.5. So, look, there were a few rappers in the crowd. I think one was the Spanish word for eggs. I don't care. I don't know who they are. Apparently they're popular. Congratulations. I don't listen to a lot of modern rap. Balor got fisted so hard. That is the second hardest fisting I see an Irishman take, on camera at least. And it was what it was. We get interference. We get a bunch of stomps. But then eventually we get a choke slam 1, 2, 3. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was all right. But then here's Triple H. There's a new title because we're going to have the champions from each brand, the men and the women. So it's going to be Gunther and Cody against Liv and Nia. Yes, spoiler, Liv ends up retaining. And they're going to be competing for the Crown Jewel Championship that is giving the AWA title a run for its money as far as the gaudy nature of the whole thing. So here's Gunther. At least he, I may review Crown Jewel, by the way, but I'm getting really kind of sick of these shows that just aren't good. But Gunther shows up, and Bill Goldberg's in the crowd, and the instant Gunther mentions the Legends, they know where he's going to go. It's Atlanta. Bill Goldberg is very over in Atlanta, so they're chanting for Bill Goldberg. And I keep saying Bill Goldberg because I stand by Bret Hart. And also it's funny. So he did say about, Goldberg, when I called you my favorite wrestler ever, that was a lie. Why would the greatest wrestler on earth right now, like a one-trick pony like you? And he's not wrong. That one-trick pony drew a fuck ton of money and got a lot of money, in wrestling, but wasn't wrong. It worked for a while. But then he said to Gage, I really hope that, he's a better father to you than he was a wrestler. His wife seemed in Bill Goldberg did not seem all that happy, but it was what it was. Sammy shows up, so we get a brief brawl. I did like the fact that Bill Goldberg looked like he was upset, but I'm like, thank God they're not doing Gunther and Bill Goldberg at Crown Jewel. Watch them do it at Mania. And watch Bill Goldberg win the title and then retire. Anyway, so we get a Prime plug. I hope Logan's fiance leaves him and takes a kid, by the way. I don't feel bad about saying that. Logan doesn't deserve any happiness. I don't care how much of a natural he is. He's a goddamn piece of shit and he's a crackpot. And people know it, and people need to admit it. You can do all the flips and, great shit that you want. A package on Rhea and Liv. DDP, Scott Steiner, and Mickie James were in the crowd. And they say in the box that Chelsea is still stinking. Yes, Chelsea Green, and Piper was there too for whatever. I'll give this much credit to Chelsea. She's making the most of this. And then we get Liv and Dominic riding in a lowrider and everything. And Liv seems to enjoy riding up and down, riding side saddle. Stop thinking about it, Kier. I know you're thinking about it. Get some goddamn help. Kier's a great guy. Don't you pick on him. I'm picking on him in jest because it's in good fun. If you're going to knock Kier because he wants to share his opinions, whether I agree with them or not, he's allowed to say them because he's a good guy and he's just sharing his love of wrestling. So if you want to get upset at him for just having fun, fuck you. So, stop thinking about it though, Kier. So, the last Battle of Atlanta was referenced. You know, I've seen that match, and while it was good, maybe it's just a product of its time. Maybe it's the fact I never saw the appeal of Wildfire Tommy Rich. I also was not in the wheelhouse of the age that I would have seen him in his prime. Rhea looks incredible, my God. Corey talking about jilted lovers. That's funny coming from Corey. What happened to the woman that you were married to that had the 3 kids, that stayed with you when your brain decided to quit working properly so you couldn't wrestle anymore? And you decided to channel Jesse Ventura, except you can't channel 1/10 of Jesse Ventura. So nevertheless, we have Liv and Rhea with Dominic in a shark cage. It's for Liv's women's world title. I wanted to like this. They had enough good stuff going, and then it just got really, really messy. Dominic ended up undoing the lock, and I think he undid it too early because everybody just looked confused. Rhea hit a splash, got the clover queef on, and then Dominic ends up suddenly hanging upside down or whatever. And how does that feel? Ask David Carradine. And then Rhea says, the referee's got the referee cam, and says, I need to go do something. I don't want you to count me out. And the referee's like, okay. And even Michael Cole called out how stupid this was. And I love Rhea, don't get me wrong. I would do anything that Rhea asked me, almost anything. I don't know what man or woman wouldn't. But yeah, she whips him with a stick. And then Raquel suddenly attacks. And was the idea that the referee wasn't supposed to see this? Because they badly timed this. To the point where it wasn't interference and Raquel costing Rhea, where they go off in that direction. No, Liv ended up retaining, but Rhea won by DQ, and yeah. Also Raquel, that finish was flyer than her. I do not understand why they keep pushing Raquel. Her and Rhea had, I guess, fine matches in NXT. Even had decent brawls. I have yet to see anything that she has done on the main roster where it has been any good. And I know she's had injuries. I believe she has some type of skin condition, if I recall correctly, that she's had to get treatment for, and I feel bad for that. But as far as her in-ring work, it's not working. Liv and Raquel as a team, cool, that's fine. Okay, Crown Jewel November 2nd. The entrances took 14 years. That marching band that did Cody's theme, that was a choice. Solo and Jacob Fatu show up, and so it's Cody and Roman. Roman gets his lavish entrance. Look, the match was all about, can Cody and Roman get along? So I don't know if I heard so much boos for I heard boos for Cody, I'm just going to say. I heard enough cheers, but anytime it was like Roman's time, and Cody seemed like he was trying to upstage him, the crowd didn't want to see that. Jacob Fatu is going to be a big star. They need to pull the trigger on him. I'm not saying tomorrow or on SmackDown, but soon. They don't pull it by Mania, they're going to have a problem. Mania is about 6 months away as of now, or just about. It built to the hot tag to Roman. Then the referee forgot who was legal, forgot how countouts could exist, and apparently forgot how object permanence existed, because he's just like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. Cody ends up in the crossroads and a bunch of moves on Jacob Fatu and splashes him through the announcer's table after basically doing this to Roman, like, I'm going to sacrifice myself, goodbye. And then the Tongans show up to cost Roman. And then suddenly there's a man in a hooded jacket. And in Atlanta? God, geez, that certainly doesn't, get much more specific than that, does it? Nevertheless, I could be describing Seattle and Tacoma for all you know. But it's Jim Uso, which sounds like a French cappuccino drink. But he hits super kicks on the Tongans and just looks at Solo, and then Solo gets hit with the spear. 1, 2, 3, and there you are. That's all the coverage you're going to get for that, because it was a storyline match, and it's a storyline that I'm quite frankly sick of. I've been sick of the Bloodline for a while. This thing with Solo, I know the idea. Excuse me. You know how it takes a while to get like the remaining bits of like a flu out of you? Yeah, that's the deal right there. Sometimes I get overworked. But this stuff, I know the idea is Solo's supposed to be in over his head, all this. And he's supposed to have the Ula Fali, golly, what a day. Ula Fali belongs to Roman Reigns. Good luck if you ever see Robin Hood on hearing that. But nevertheless, it's not working. I'm sorry. Yeah, the live crowds are cheering for Solo, or they're chanting "fuck you, Solo," but so they pop for Jim Uso and Roman hugging. Will Roman go for Cody? Well, then everybody attacks Cody again after Jim Uso and Roman leave, and Jim Uso gets Roman to go do the right thing. So obviously, there's your tease for building the War Games, I would imagine, and. Yeah, there you go. Everybody gets put off, and then suddenly, Rock the Dwayne Johnson shows up to a pop and just stands there and says, "Oh, my work is done here." "What do you mean your work? You didn't do anything." "Didn't I?" "It's cooking." And then that was it. He held up some fingers, so I assume we're going to get a 4-on-4 or 5-on-5 match. And, oh yes, also Kevin Owens attacked Cody Rhodes backstage. One of two things. They're turning Owens heel to have him job out to Cody, and then he's going to go for a shit pot full of money in AEW, or he's just going to stick with WWE because he's nearer at 40. I thought he wanted to end his career in WWE, and to be perfectly honest, while yes, Tony could give him more money, what would he be able to do there? What do you think? Where do you think Kevin Owens is going to go? And also, what do you think of Bad Blood? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.